Dormammu, I've come to Spidercast.
With 3 spiders.
Yes.
Jerry, Larry, and Carrie.
Wait. So this will be a full Spider-Man No Way Home review conversation. Hi, welcome everyone to What the Fiction. I'm Marie-Claire Gould, your host, and today we will be reviewing and talking about and discussing Spider-Man No Way Home, full spoiler conversation. And with me is my entire family.
Hi.
Hi.
What was that?
Great. We get the ghost of the little boy to we get the real child to come
Hi,
in.
I'm Robin.
Hi, I'm Will.
And I'm Kyle.
All right. And over the past few months, we have actually spent the time to rewatch all of the Spider movies.
Or watch for the first time.
And before we get into the movie, I actually wanted to briefly talk about that experience of rewatching all of the Spider movies, or what it was like to watch them for the first time.
I had seen, I think, a small portion of Spider-Man 2. Like, how are we going to refer to these?
So the first Spider movies are just Spider-Man, but we'll call them Spectacular Spider-Man.
When I was a kid, I had seen the trailers. Small portions of Spider-Man 2, like Spectacular Spider-Man 2 and 3, as well as the actual movie images. I had seen all of the Tom Holland Spider-Man's movies, and it was the first time I had ever seen the Andrew Garfield ones, even though I knew who he was. And it was really fun. Really liked it. It was really hard to place who my favorite Spider-Man was because I felt like there was a lot of drawbacks to all of the movies. This new movie really erased all of the drawbacks that I had felt because it just kind of solidified everything for me and made it so good. It was so good. I liked Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man. I think I didn't like the villains, and I didn't like what happened with the villains, and I didn't really like all of the combat, but he had potential. Tobey Maguire's Spectacular Spider-Man movies, they were good, solid. The evil Spider-Man plot, bit weird. It's a bit weird, but we'll go. And Tom Holland is great, so, no arguments there.
Okay.
For me, I watched all of the movies for the very first time. Obviously, I knew who almost all of the characters were. I knew who Venom was, I knew who Green Goblin was, and I knew who Doc Ock was, but I didn't know who the other ones were because I wasn't a big Spider-Man fan. But when I watched them, I felt like the first 2 Spectacular Spider-Man movies were pretty good. But then when you got to the third, you were like, what's going on? What? And I think I laughed more, but I was just more confused.
Oh, okay.
And for the Amazing Spider-Man, I'm just not going to talk about that weird green thing.
Yeah, that's fair. I get that. We talked about that during the movie. You don't have to bring that up.
Yeah.
That gave you pause for concern.
Yeah, you didn't like the lizard in Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Did anyone?
I really did not like him, and he gave me a single day of nightmares and a lot of jump scares.
Yeah.
But then when I saw Electrodes, I was like, bruh, okay, so there's this Spider-Man fan, and he turns evil because Spider-Man said he would need him, and then he didn't need him.
Interesting.
And Spider-Man forgot about him. That whole plot is kind of weird.
I actually liked The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was very confusing because it just felt like they wanted to do 6 movies worth of things, and then they just did them all.
Yeah. Same with Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
What did you think of the rewatch?
I loved the rewatch. I loved and I hated the rewatch. Over the years, Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire has become one of my favorite Spider-Man movies. Because
so
it is
bad.
just so over the top.
So over the top.
Everything and the kitchen sink.
But Sandman is amazing in that movie. That whole plot.
Yes. The musical dance number, the whole thing
What?
is just,
I
it's
forgot
so
about-
good.
I purged the musical from my memory. Oh no.
And James Franco is so bad. And Topher Grace, the guy from that 70s show,
Yeah.
so bad that he's good as well. And they're good actors. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just suggesting that their role in the movie is so over the top. And then just everybody in that poor movie. So it's become one of my favorites. And then I have seen The Amazing Spider-Man in the theaters and then at home a couple of times because I think we own it. Mm-hmm. But The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield, I only saw one time in the theater and then never saw it again ever. And I had forgotten why
Yeah.
I was never going to see that movie ever, ever, ever again. And that's because it crushes you at the very end. They're like, haha, this was in the comics. It's canon. And like,
right.
just because it was canon, the comics doesn't need to mean you need to do it in the movie.
Yes.
Especially to one of my favorite actresses. So it was hard to finish that out. That's what we did. We watched those 5 movies and finished it out in anticipation for this movie.
We also rewatched the Tom Holland ones.
Yes.
Did we? Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I didn't know if we jumped through them all because then there was like Endgame and we were watching them with your friend Savannah, and then we were worried, like from Tavern Tales Jr., Savannah, and then we were worried that like going into the next movie was going to make 0 sense because
she watched the Tom Holland ones, both of them with the family.
No, I think Sav only watched the first one.
Oh.
I think Sav would totally love this movie, but it flies a bit over the head if you don't really know Marvel super well.
Like the background of the blip in 5 years and all those pieces, they're not playing a huge role in the movie.
Yeah.
What did play a huge role is those 5 other movies.
Yes, they play a huge role.
If you have not seen those 5 other movies,
you're like,
you are
what?
screwed.
And like those 5 other movies hold a place in my heart because Spider-Man 1 was one of the first movies that Kyle and I ever saw together. I was actually visiting him in Japan and we had the opportunity to see it opening day randomly.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to see it. It felt special because it was like us and amongst a Japanese audience, and we got to see it because of how like overseas releases happen. We got to see it before anybody in North America saw it. And so it was like, it felt very special. And so rewatching that and just kind of like experiencing all of the different Spider-Man, it was really fun just to revisit all of them and be like, what did I like about these things? What was hard? And it was hard every time a villain pretty much died every time. I agree with the sort of fundamental premise of No Way Home, and especially the repairing of these like things that are broken or things that are lost. And that with that, let's get into No Way Home. Okay.
I'm glad we found our way home.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it was slippy.
It was very slippy and snowy.
What are your overall impressions of the movie?
It focuses a lot on Mysterio, even though he's dead. Like, the first half of the movie is Mysterio, and then it drifts over to not Mysterio.
That's such a good point.
Mm-hmm. It's like the consequences of Mysterio is mentioned a lot.
They had to fulfill what they were going to do. They had already set it up in the last movie. Mysterio's death is important. Even though there was a team behind Mysterio, his death was still like notable and important enough for it to like very much so matter. And so I think that we were like definitely recovering from a lot of those like, now you're revealed stuff.
Peter can't send all of those villains home to die.
Yeah, because he let Mysterio die.
See, he has to save them all.
And death has like consequences he sees. He sees death associated with ruining his entire life.
Oh God.
Right? Like that's the death of Mysterio caused him to like ruin his whole life.
He didn't kill Mysterio.
No, I know.
He tried to save Mysterio. Mysterio basically killed himself trying to kill Peter.
Yeah.
But he still has all this guilt associated with
what happened.
Yeah. And so he sees saving those 5 villains as his way of atonement.
Yeah.
Like he if there's a way to stop them from basically killing themselves, because they all do, right? They all kill themselves in one way, shape, or form. It's like Spider-Man takes them out.
I mean, it's always like an overreach of power, or the villain like Goblin
the Green Goblin was like,
trying to kill
stabbed.
him. Well, he was
by his own glider.
He was trying
right.
to kill
Forgot about
Peter
that.
with his glider.
Oh, dude.
That's a really important point you brought up, and how Mysterio factors so heavily as a through line for this entire movie, Will.
But also, it kind of fades. Like, it's pretty big, but then it kind of just disappears later on in the movie.
Right.
Not really. The themes are still there, though.
Exactly. So we don't need to talk about Mysterio, right? Brought up Mysterio. They talked about what was important about it, and then they dealt with how does he resolve this?
Yeah. Robin, how did you feel about the movie?
My thoughts are solely contained to half of the second act and all of the third act. So,
okay.
I really like seeing the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man again, because their movies didn't do the characters justice, and then they show up here, and now you're like, this is what I was trying to see with you guys. This is who you are, like, in the movies. We didn't get to see that anymore. I missed it. Hi. Hello. Welcome back. Oh, now they're they're giving each other back cracks. Oh, now I ship them. Oh, no.
The auditorium that we were watching it in,
Yep.
when they actually showed up, they all cheered.
Yeah, there was
We all
several
cheered.
cheers, hey?
How many movies have you been to where the audience cheers during a movie?
I think this is the first.
Is that the first?
Yeah.
I think I've been to like one or two. Endgame, and
Right.
sorry,
Oh, yeah,
Infinity
Endgame.
War.
They cheered at The Last
Yeah.
Jedi, but you guys were pretty young because it was 4 years ago when Kylo killed Snoke and they fought together. They
I feel
cheered
like
in
they
the
cheered
movie
in.
theater.
I feel like they cheered at Strauss too during the kiss.
There was people that cheered,
Or did
and
you
then,
block out the?
and then were disappointed.
Did you block out all of memories of Tross?
No, it's
It
It's
haunts
burned
you.
into
It
my
plagues
memory.
you. Okay.
Infinity. Is it Infinity?
Infinity War when they all showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or-
yeah.
Yeah, when they all would
On
like
your
show up.
left.
On your
Oh, yeah,
left.
on your left.
On your
Everyone-
left.
Everyone.
Oh, Endgame.
Yeah, Endgame when everyone was like, woo, because he was like on your left. Like, I needed to plug my ears, that was so loud.
Yeah.
Overall thoughts on the movie, Marie Claire?
You don't want to go first?
No.
Okay. No Way Home did something really wonderful, which is that it put the concept of love and compassion for even your enemies over sort of the concept of destruction. And I know it takes a lot of fan knowledge. You basically have to watch 5 movies to kind of get it. That's
Okay, well that's all of
that's
the
a
MCU.
lot.
That's all
Actually,
of
no,
the
you have to watch
MCU.
7 movies to get this movie, right? Like that's a lot of commitment. And there's even like an Into the Spider-Verse reference or Miles Morales reference, which was really cool to actually see. But it did something by repairing the mythology of these other movies. It said
That's what I was
these
saying.
people were still valuable. Yeah, exactly. To Robin's point.
I just can't say it well.
Spider-Man has always had a massive place in my heart. I've collected the comics since I was in high school. I collected Amazing Spider-Man, the newest run that came out in the 2000s. I love Spider-Man, and I know it rewards fans. This movie rewards fans, and some people might be quite critical of that, but it also heals fans who saw Gwen Stacy fall off the clock tower and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, couldn't save her and it broke their hearts, and he saves MJ, and we get that like he did it this time resolution.
It was also like a super bro, there's also hope for your love life. Like you're good. You'll
Yeah.
find somebody.
And I love it when we get multiple versions of self,
Of course you do.
because it's deeply psychological, and they see the past self and they
Oh, I'm
see
getting
the
low-key
like it was like 3 different ages of Spider-Man who had all dealt with different traumas and different things, and they could all learn from each other. And loving yourself is the most important thing that you can do, and knowing that you're going to be okay and supporting yourself is such like an important message, and it comes out in this movie.
I'm getting low-key flashbacks.
One of the things that I was like, oh, I know that's going to happen is when Aunt May was like, with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh, you just knew she was gonna die.
Yeah, right when they said that, you know they're going to die. If you're the first person to say that, you say it to a Spider-Man, you're going to die.
It's canon. Death. Canon death.
Kyle, how did you feel?
I am very sad.
You are?
I just didn't feel like you needed to motivate Peter Parker through loss. And they just keep doing it over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
Like we have to watch Ben die in the first movie. Then, oh, hey, you know what? We'll kill Gwen Stacy in front of you. Ha ha ha. And then they killed May in front of us.
I also like how they were talking about the loss, and it was like all 3 important people in our lives have died in different universes. The girlfriend, the mother figure, the father figure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just felt it was really unnecessary.
Bro, when's the older brother?
It is so much more painful for her to have been alive, recovering. Spider-Man saved
And
her.
him having the guilt of having her recover.
and
Yeah.
she doesn't know who he is.
Yeah.
Bro, that's like flashbacks to Captain America seeing Peggy.
Peggy
Peggy Carter.
Peggy
She
in the
doesn't know him.
hospital. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there's no need for May to be dead. Zero purpose for that.
I agree with you.
Like I would have been fine with him thinking she was dead.
Yeah, same.
right? May, but she's gone. She's lost consciousness. Also, like, I gotta hand it to Marvel. Cops are not good people.
Yeah, and they
No.
showed that.
No,
They showed
were like,
that. They could have shot May more. Like,
exactly.
right? Like,
Just start unloading shots in there. I really loved this movie, and then they killed May.
yeah.
And it felt like they were undoing all of these amazing things. And granted, it's a setback, and we get to see where he develops from here. We're not done with Tom Holland Spider-Man.
no.
Yeah, we're definitely
is
going to get a
clearly
college-
articulated.
Yeah.
College arc. No way back to my frat house.
And it's
I've lost my keys and I have no way home.
they have told us this right from the get-go. There is no way home.
There is no way home to what you were. Yeah.
Suffer.
And, you know, that's very it's very transformative in like, you can never be the person you were in high school. And, you know, there's all these things that are being said, right? When you graduate, you've literally left behind the easiest portion of your life, which is also what they're saying.
Don't give me more existential
Then-
dread.
Sorry.
The next Spider-Man movie is Spider-Man, Welcome to College.
We've already had Homecoming, right?
I'm poor.
Spider-Man. No, you saw the notebook in his bag.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, homeschooled.
Yeah. I think we're past the home trilogy.
I would hope.
No.
No,
Yeah.
we are. We're going to
Home.
move on to something else, right?
Oh, I
Yeah.
wanted home for the holidays.
I know.
We kind of got that at the end.
I wanted Spider-Man home run.
But
I think that they could still do like a holiday special and it would be super enjoyable.
he's all alone.
But it could be set in the past. Fine. Okay.
And we've talked a little bit about it, but what was the movie about for you?
It was really about Peter Parker knowing that there was different universes out there.
Okay.
Like, he knows. But, like, it was really about Peter Parker finding himself, and he gets a fresh start.
Okay.
You ready? Because I have like a segment
I'm
on this. I'm
so
formulating. I also watched It's a Wonderful Life. And I was watching today because I was watching it in my film studies class. So I was watching this movie and I was like, why is there so many similarities? And I thought about it and I was like, it's because they both cover love, loss, so like losing it all, and the effects of society, money, your identity getting exposed. Like all of these kind of core topics are there. They cover two different approaches. I'm not going to touch on It's a Wonderful Life, but that was like a very like, I see the similarities here moment. Because, you know, you see Tom Holland Spider-Man like kind of lose it all in this movie and also gain something he didn't have before, which was like, if you had put him in the situation from the first movie where he still had Tony Stark and he still had everyone, he would have totally told MJ and Ned, look, it's me, I know you. But he didn't. And that is interesting. And I was like, it was hard to watch, but we're getting a new Spider-Man. And it was also about covering old wounds and healing old wounds. Even if there's like a scar can still fade after it's healed completely kind of moment where we were having the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man and the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man just kind of heal and help fix what had happened. And that was really
Not only
cool.
for themselves, but also for Peter.
Peter, who suddenly just like threw himself into their lives and saw all of their problems and then related to those problems with what happened with Mysterio and even what happened with the Vulture somewhat. Like, he saw villains and he was like, they make the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man reference, but none of them are really friendly or neighborhood at this point anymore because they've done so much for a city, for a world, for a universe, a multiverse. There's a lot of you just healing, recovering from past trauma, like feeling loss, feeling the weight of what actually it means to be in society and with all of the pressures that puts on. And I'm excited to see where he goes from here. I really hope we do not get more heartbreak in the next movie because this is painful. I'm lucky I sat next to you, Dad, because I was so sad so much of the time. And I feel like killing Aunt May was a bit unnecessary. I think they did it because it would have been even more sad to have her be alive. And they already knew what they were doing. They were already going to pile on, lather it in meaty angst, and have the other Spider-Man recover, and he has to suffer kind of thing. It's like, ugh.
The actual next title would make sense to be Spider-Man, A New Home. Because he has a new fresh start. Everyone forgets who even Peter Parker is except for Peter Parker.
So here's my problem with that. Our first two Spider-Men, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, tell no one. They work very hard to tell no one who they are.
Yeah.
And that is the core element of their problem. I am Spider-Man, but I am Peter Parker, and I can't let people know that I'm Peter Parker, because when they do, my loved ones will be put in danger. And of course, that's what happens. The bad guys find out and put their loved ones in danger.
And then the bad guys die.
And then the bad guys die, keeping his secret safe.
Yeah.
Our Peter, Tom Holland, he never is without a friend. He has Tony Stark from the get-go. From his
Ned.
first introduction, Tony Stark already knows who he is. Ned finds out immediately. So he has Happy Hogan, he has Ned, and in the second movie, he has MJ and his aunt. So he has people.
Yeah.
And those people are always helping him. Mm-hmm. The guy in the chair. Both MJ and Ned had the device for a large chunk of the show and were doing things to protect him with the signet ring of Doctor Strange and building their own storyline and running around and getting in trouble, but getting out of it.
Yeah.
And Peter doesn't have to keep an eye on them all the time. I mean, he does save them, but they save him in as much as anything else. And then Peter goes on to say, you other Spider-Men, you are used to working alone. You're so used to working alone that you're getting in each other's way all the time. I've been on a team.
Not to brag, but I've been on the Avengers, guys.
Yeah. Is that a band? Is that a rock band? It sounds like fun. He says, I've been on a team and we need to work together. We have a common goal. Let's all work together and communicate. We can do it.
Yeah.
And then they took all of that away from him.
They took everything away from him. Yeah. But like that ties into like what many writers view as like a necessity to story, which is that the hero has to sacrifice something. And they didn't want to probably kill more people around him. So they just took his identity away from him.
And Aunt May.
And Aunt May. Yeah.
So
they should have kept Aunt May.
Foolish.
Yeah.
Like, we already realize what the stakes are. We see the multiverse opening. And I'm okay with people not remembering him. I'm okay with that. That's fine.
Interesting.
But it does just put him right back on this path that both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire already explored for 5 movies.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see him going down that, like, the same path. It's just not, no.
Yeah, sad. And this is something I wanted to bring up, which was that many people on the internet hated the fact that Tom Holland had Tony Stark and like had like in some ways an affluent aspect to his character. And now MCU Spider-Man has nothing. And he's back to being this character. He has actually less than the other Spider-Man.
Yes. What is his webs? He doesn't have webs because that was part of his suit. Well, I guess he made his own.
He made his own. That was always part of him. He knew how to make them.
I want to watch him suffer.
I don't get it. I don't get it. It still is bothering me. I'm going to take some time to think about it some more. But I did not need to see Peter Parker in a sewing machine spandex suit trying to save people from a AM/FM app on his phone running, because we've already gotten that.
Yeah. I mean, we only saw it for a little bit. It wasn't
right,
like
but that's what says like that is what's to come.
Yeah.
Okay, like the future doesn't seem too bright, Dad, but the time the next movie rolls around, you're going to be back in love with Spider-Man. It's fine.
But they could do a lot of different stories because this is the universe of the Avengers.
They
could do a lot of different things and explore a lot of different things in different ways. I never understood that argument about him because he was always in high school and it sort of made sense to have a safety net around a kid, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because he was like, because the other two, they had safety nets. It's not like they were without them.
And the 3 movies, now that we can say this, like the home trilogy, the Spider-Man home trilogy, I believe is pure joy. Like John Watts, who's the director, took a lot of inspiration from John Hughes. Think about John Hughes movies like Ferris Bueller's Day Off and, 16 Candles and Pretty in Pink and stuff like that. And even Home Alone. He wrote Home Alone. But like you think about John Hughes and they have a lot of joy and it's about adolescence and it's about like who you are after adolescence or who you will become, right?
That's really what home is.
Yeah, exactly. It is what home is. And No Way Home is to say we're closing this chapter. We're closing this book.
I'm just so sad.
I know. And so, like, I'm okay with it. I really liked the story that was said. I totally get your criticism, Kyle, that like it didn't need to happen. He had already gone through enough pain. My heart bleeds for this Spider-Man. He didn't need this pain. But also some people as writers feel like, the hero is not a hero unless he actually makes some sort of meaningful sacrifice or it has something to happen
But
to
he
him
did
that is
sacrifice stuff. It was,
sacrificial.
Also,
I know.
those writers are dumb.
I know. I'm just commenting on how they think about the world.
you
That
don't have to know.
having everybody lose the memory of him and May live would have been more powerful. I agree.
Get one or the other, please.
Mm-hmm.
One or the other. It's just an unsurmountable. So what happened then? We watch him walking down the street, New York, white piece of paper in hand, right? Symbol of hope. Because this piece of paper in hand, he's rehearsing his speech. He's going to go and remind the woman he loves, who's admitted to loving him, that he exists. And he walks in the door and she smiles and nods to Ned. And he decides he's not going to do it. Why? Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Okay, so I did. I don't think you're gonna like him though.
I already don't like the scene, so help me understand it.
I always felt like it was a very like me and my It's a Wonderful Life comparisons.
No, it's a brilliant comparison. I'm glad you watched that today because what you get at the end of It's a Wonderful Life is what we are missing in this
that
movie.
is so.
This
right
is
now,
Phoebe watching It's a Wonderful Life and turning it off with 5 minutes left and being like, this is the worst movie ever.
it feels like the moment in It's a Wonderful Life when he's looking at all of the things except reverse, where he's seeing how happy they are, how they got into MIT, how they're doing things, how MJ doesn't feel like shit at her job, how Ned is having a good time. He's just like scrolling on his phone. He's having a good day. Like, it feels like it's that moment where you go, I didn't need to be here anyway. And I'm just glad to see these people again because I missed you. I missed you so much. And I love you. I know that I can't do anything and you look so happy and I don't want to ruin that.
Yeah.
I love you so much and I'm so sorry, but I can't ruin this for you as much as I want to.
I actually feel like that's it. Like he views it as him pulling them out of their potential and their chance to not know him. And it comes back to like the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, like, we're not worthy, like, conversation. So Andrew being like, I suck. Everything is terrible. And that's now part of Peter. He blames himself for everything bad that ever happened to MJ and Ned. And he's like, now you have a chance to exist without me.
I don't think they really I do not think they got through to him when they were saying, it's fine. We like helping you. That didn't translate. And it's even worse now because he's just blaming himself for everything.
I mean, it's a very classic MCU thing to be like, and there's more story to tell.
The classical forget everything thing. The one thing that I was like, just write a note.
Yeah, magic can erase notes. Because, like, think about it. How many pictures of Spider-Man as Peter Parker did Jonah Jameson have?
A ton.
So the magic just made everybody not know, including technology, notes, everything.
Oh, so this is really magic.
Yes.
This isn't the good place magic.
That's why I feel like if he actually did tell them, it would have just gone like, so you're a stalker kind of way. Because all of the magic stuff is very like, it's potent. As we're going to see in Multiverse of Madness and as we've seen before, magic is strong and it's very hard to combat.
Want to hear some cool trivia?
Sure.
Directly related to the movie. In 2004, Tobey Maguire hurt his back.
Yeah.
Very badly.
Really hurt his back.
Very badly doing Spider-Man. And people, because there's a huge fight between Tobey Maguire and Sony about it. It's been kind of resolved this day. I'm guessing it's been resolved at this point. It's kind of hurt Tobey Maguire's acting career as a result too, though, because a lot of people said, oh, he's just trying to get a better payday. And he's like, well, I deserve better money for what I'm doing. And Tobey Maguire's broken back, hurt back, became a huge thing that led to what is considered to be the end of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man career.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when he suits up and he climbs up to the top of the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah.
His back starts hurting. And then Andrew Garfield comes along to fix his back problem.
Yeah.
How is that not a direct commentary on this?
I know.
This media tabloid.
It was very like, hold on. excuse to like hold you really quick.
Yeah, now you want to write fan fiction.
Dude,
I love it.
So bad.
Do that, but
I love it.
it was about Tobey Maguire's
I know.
broken back.
I do want to ask everyone here if they have any thoughts on Toby and Andrew. I know you went into it a little bit earlier on how they played out in the movie and playing their characters again. Will, how did you feel about that?
I felt like they did it really well, and they definitely got up to date on all the Spider-Man new things.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, a ton of different things have been invented since, like, 2002 when they used to do it.
Right.
That's a good point. 19 years. I have to say, I loved when Tobey Maguire and Alfred Molina had their moment together.
Yeah.
And then when Jamie Foxx and Andrew Garfield had their moment together. Like, those were really nice moments between characters that did have this rapport with each other. They were friendly or teacher-student and friends. The relationship between Andrew Garfield and Jamie Foxx's character was always a bit
weird,
strained, but it was nice, and they had a friendship that Andrew Garfield's character kept trying to prove as true.
Yeah.
So I really liked it. It was, again, it felt like these movies you guys were in so long ago didn't show what the characters were. Like, we saw little bits of it, but now we're seeing you. All of these little bits and pieces, they're coming together. You are you, and like now I see you.
Do you feel like, okay, so you saw these movies of the past, and then they got to like revisit the character and be exactly like, after all that time of thinking about their character, they got to be exactly what they wanted to be in this movie?
Yeah, it felt like they reprised the roles and then played it perfectly.
I know what it was that made this different.
What?
Is that you only had them interacting on their own and monologuing as a villain. And then you had them interacting with the populace and destroying things, which is not really much in the way of character, right? You're just destroying.
They were talking about, Robin was talking about the Spider-Man.
No, but I think it does also apply to the villains in a way. Because, yeah, I was talking about both of them. Yeah, sure. I was talking about both of them.
Because the villains got a chance to interact with each other.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
That was really cool.
I love Doc Ock now. I was like on the fence, as Doc Ock is my favorite Spider-Man villain of all time. Because it's just, there was just so much. And I love Green Goblin and I love that whole bit. But Doc Ock was just so, it was the right choice.
You mean
to
Mr.
have him cured
Arms?
first.
Yes.
Mr. Arms?
Otto Octavius. That's not a real name. In the comics, Dr. Otto Octavius is not like that. He is megalomaniacal scientist who is mean, and he's cruel, and he's heartless, and he is a terrible, terrible person. And they didn't do that in Spider-Man 2. They decided, you know what?
He's sympathetic. Yeah.
Let's make him more like Dr. Connors, because in the comics, Dr. Connors was the teacher of Peter at university, and they had this mentor-student relationship and rapport, and they decided to take that and give it to Otto Octavius, which makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So it made a lot of sense. I really loved it.
And it makes him sympathetic too. He had that love story.
And then it came back here and I was like, hi, I missed you.
Exactly.
It felt like old friends a little bit, because you're just like, hi, you are you, and I'm so happy you're back. Like, I don't want to cry on the podcast, but dude, I'm like watering up, because when I first saw the arm clenched down, I was like, this is gonna be painful, but I'm ready. And then I saw the bomb and I was like, this is gonna be painful, but I'm ready. And then it was good.
Yeah, and it showed a lot. And I wanted to say about Toby and Andrew, Toby really got to play old man Spider-Man in a way, and like really like mentor, and I've learned from stuff, and I wish I could fix things in the past, and this gives me a chance to fix things from the past. And Andy got to actually grieve for Gwen in a very realistic way, and be like, I'm going to atone for that, and I'm going to help my other versions of myself. That's what it is. I'm going to help my other versions of myself be better and fix the mistakes that I made or that I wasn't able to live up to.
So what you're just telling me is mid-30s, mid-20s, still a teenager.
Yeah. Toby's probably in his 40s.
Yeah, I don't know. Get age.
So Robin's favorite villain is Doc Ock in this. Who was your favorite villain, Will?
Also Doc Ock. The fact that they saved him that early was just the best. And also, I was like, Electrode should be feeding off of Doc Ock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Electro's new costume. But
Electro
I think
Redemption?
Sandman has always been my favorite. I loved
Dude,
his
it's just
story
Sandman.
in the original.
He's not a villain.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but like he's just like a force of nature. Like you really. But I've always loved Sandman, and if I can't choose Sandman, I will choose Green Goblin because I liked how much Willem Dafoe got to play with the character this go around.
He just reprised him so perfectly.
Yeah.
It was like, I didn't like Green Goblin in the original trilogy as much as I like him now, because it was like, I saw all of the things they were trying to tell us desperately. They were on their knees, like, please
Sam Raimi is a very dramatic director, so
take our Green Goblin, take him and love him. And it took like a solid 20 years for us to actually be like, I do love him.
yeah.
Steps to kill Sandman. You just grab your cement gun loaded with cement and fire away at him.
It was interesting to note all of the villains on some level all wanted redemption.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, they totally did.
All of them were in a position to want that.
Yeah.
And so it was not Tom Holland forcing redemption down their throats. It was them all working towards it, and then it all falling apart and having to be, put back together with a big fight. Which is, okay, that's fine.
Sandman was the only one who didn't really get he didn't need a redemption arc because he was already
already like, I just want to be good because I gotta.
Can I just go home and see my daughter, please?
Yeah. Can I just go home, please? Yeah.
Same with the lizard,
Yeah.
right? The lizard spends most of that time in the movie hanging out in the truck,
He doesn't want to hurt anybody. Yeah.
which is great because then there weren't
The
any jump
dinosaur can
scares,
talk?
and there wasn't a dinosaur that was running around and scaring people, right? Until he started chasing them in the room and having to fight Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Also, the funniest thing is when Ned opened a portal to the ocean.
Dude, Ned having powers is the best. I want more Ned with powers. We won't get it, but I want it so
Why not?
bad.
Doctor Strange already knows.
Wait, is Ned gonna be in Multiverse of Madness?
Dude, I want Ned to become Doctor Strange's apprentice now.
I'm down for that. I think that's amazing and fun and a wonderful thing for the MCU to build and develop.
And he could
So let's talk about Doctor Strange,
That was
Okay.
because he has a massive role to play in this movie.
He
I
really
was
does.
hanging the Grand
and he
Canyon
kind of
for
like starts
12
it and
hours.
ends it and is gone for the middle
He
because
gets
of
relegated to the
Yeah.
Grand Canyon.
Yeah, and I really like from the commercials and from kind of like the pre stuff, I thought he would be like, I've given up, Doctor Strange, right? Like he's literally holding a mug that says, I give 0 fucks.
Yeah.
Right. So like, or no, oh, for fuck's sake. That's what it says. And he's wearing his like snow gear underneath his thing. And I think he genuinely like has 0 responsibilities right now because Wong has taken Sorcerer Supreme, obviously, because of the blip. And Strange doesn't do well unless he has responsibilities. And so it was like a really interesting way to say, like, I'll try to fix this and break the whole world. Like, it was really cool.
And especially with this is why I never had kids line.
Yes.
He said it like it was a negative thing, but in the end, he actually needed something to do because that man was so bored and chasing Peter around. And also, I liked how we basically got like a Peter, like a Doctor Strange in the first movie, like learning about all of these things. And then Peter doing so much better than he did in all of those environments, especially with the astral projecting thing. His Spidey sense is like a body thing less than like a mental thing. And
I have no doubt if like Peter needed to go to Steven and say, you erased everyone's memories, I'm Spider-Man, like he would instantly have Doctor Strange's help.
dude, Doctor Strange is like another adoptive father figure, guys.
A big point is now we know that Peter knows how to do geometry.
Yes.
That moment was so cool.
Such a good moment where he used science and his big brain to solve his problem.
Wait,
This is just appeasing all of those annoying fanboys.
And they totally make the trains looping is like, oh, it's the multiverse coming together. And it's like, no, this is the fractal world. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
So well
It was
done.
it was a good use of the mirror dimension.
wait,
Yep.
the mirror dimension is just geometry.
Yep. Very good.
Yep.
Now you know why geometry is so important.
So if I become a magical wizard, I can use it to shoot my webs.
I love. Is this tree a bad guy?
Is this tree a thing? Yeah. I have to say there was a lot of laughs in the audience,
Yes.
a lot of cheers,
the-
a lot of crying for some people. Oh, the guy, when May died and the guy in the front of us was like, no! Come on! Like, I felt that in my soul.
That crushed me.
I really loved all of the jokes in this movie, and I turned to Dad several times and I was like, I need this on Netflix now. I need to rewatch this in the comfort of my room and laugh.
I really want to rewatch it, like, right away. Like, I actually was like, I want to...
Me and you, let's go.
Let's go over Christmas break, yes.
Yeah.
Like, I would go again. I want to see it
go
again. I want to
again.
see the things, kind of in a new light, see how it's
Mom.
constructed, yeah?
It'll probably be on YouTube.
You mean Disney Plus?
It'll be on Disney Plus
We can
eventually,
buy it on
yeah.
Disney.
Final thoughts.
It was a very good movie. Just reverse the Killing May. I see how Killing May is important to forget, for having everyone forget, because if May was still alive, then they would never know that they had a son, and they would be like, why do I have all these random pictures in my house?
Yeah.
I really, really loved it. I thought it did everything it needed to do. And it also healed the other spiders.
Yeah.
The other Spider-Men, and it healed them, and it healed all the villains. And that's a very transcendent choice to make a movie about. And I loved it.
It was about healing, loss, love, and you should all watch It's a Wonderful Life again because it was really good and it hit so many same notes as this movie. It just ended in the way I wish this movie ended, or like on a similar note as this movie should have ended. Oh, pain. Okay, let's go. I'm excited.
Well, okay, so I have one argument against that. We know that they're making more Spider-Mans, and
Listen, man.
okay, they're making more Spider-Mans, and they can't take away Spider-Man's happy ending if they're going to make more of them. They have to have him in a place where he needs to have more stories told.
It's pain, okay? I hate pain.
I know.
Ned's gonna be the next superhero. It's gonna be Ned's arc of superheroism.
Is there like a young Justice version of Doctor Strange? Can that be Ned?
Yeah, it's called Strange Academy.
Strange Academy.
Really?
Started
Okay.
coming out a year ago. It's on comic 14 or 15 now.
Ned candidate for Strange Academy.
I don't see why not.
Yeah,
Okay.
I honestly feel like he should be like Doctor Strange should he should really help.
He should be like, I'm now your apprentice. You're a wizard.
You're a wizard, Ned.
You're a wizard, Ned.
We had you're
Yeah.
a goblin, Harry.
That was our
Harry
big
Styles.
that was our big joke. No.
You're a goblin, Harry.
You're a goblin, Harry Osborn.
You're a wizard, Ned.
For the first couple minutes of the movie that Green Goblin was in it, he was insanely psycho for 2 minutes, and then he was just like, "What's going on? Where's my son? Where's Oscorp?"
Yeah, because he was broken.
Broken.
And Kyle.
So they finally did a great thing with each of those 5 villains. And while it does seem like Flint Marko did not get much screen time, they all got the equivalent amount of screen time that they needed for the resolutions of their arcs. Flint Marko's arc has always been pretty static, right? Oh no, I've been turned into sand, but all I really want to do is see my daughter. Doesn't matter that this is what's going on with me right now. I can deal with that if I could just settle down and not be chased by people because society has failed Flint Marko. He hasn't failed. We resolve that. He gets to go back. Now he's not a sand guy anymore. Should be fine. That's an easy one.
Yep.
The lizard, Dr. Connors, right? He's overcome by the lizard brain and can't control himself when he's the lizard, but he's trying to fight it off throughout the whole entire movie, so we don't get too much lizard time. Also, it would be a lot more awkward if a man was running around trying to wipe out the entire people and turn it all into lizard folk.
Yeah.
Bro, this ain't D&D.
So he maybe could have stood a little bit more, but I accept that he got less.
Oh, can we talk about the punch?
Oh, that was in the trailer?
Yeah, in the trailer, he was hanging and then he got punched by, assumably, another Spider-Man.
And then they didn't have that scene in the movie.
I think they actually changed the entire thing, because if you take out that scene, then you're changing the entire thing.
They re-edited the fight to remove that scene. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Bold.
So then we've got Max, who's never had any power, and he's never had a voice for people to listen to, finally gets that and goes too far with it, and recognizes and sees that his hunger for power is part and parcel with the trauma that had been enacted upon him.
Yep.
I still feel like there's more that could be resolved, but it gets put aside for Doc Ock,
Yep.
who has been controlled by his arms,
That was just
which is
lovely.
the saddest of villain stories, right? Because he's not in control. And then we've got the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn,
He needed that, though. He needed his time.
who is largely our big bad of the movie, but it's because he is very smart and manipulative and controlling, and that dark side of him
Takes over. Yeah.
manipulated and took advantage of people who were trusting. They definitely put too much trust in the wrong moment. So overall, I will want to watch this movie again. It did make me laugh. It did make me cry. It brought all the feelings up. I don't like that they killed May, and I'm going to be sad and mad about that for forever.
You're angry.
But
The movie is working.
I'll get over it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like the story for Ned and MJ and Peter is finished.
Yeah. I hope it's not, actually.
So we need the last 5 minutes of It's a Wonderful Life in whatever the next movie is.
Yeah. They're the missing part of him.
So
right?
I would give it 3 Spider-Men out of 3 Spider-Men.
Yep. 3. It's a magic number, which is the perfect end song. That's my other thoughts. Any ratings?
It's no lizard out of 10 lizards.
Ooh, that's a great rating from you, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
the more lizards there are, the worse it is, right?
Yeah, you really didn't like the lizard.
Yeah, and Spider-Man 3 is -3 lizards
Ooh.
-3 lizards.
because that lizard is not in the series.
I would like to rate it a 10 out of 10 mom's teardrops. Not that there was any shed, but they were from the inside. Carved them out of the chest. It's a very sad movie.
You guys all had really good rating systems. Okay, so I do want to comment that this movie actually was the Sinister Six, but Venom took himself out by drinking. And so that was really wonderful. So I'm going to give it 6 out of 6 villains.
Cool.
Yeah.
I hated the ending to credit scenes because neither of them gave us any resolution or potentiality for Spider-Man. Both of them were...
Well, except for the leftover goo.
But that wasn't for Spider-Man. I don't doubt that is related to Venom.
No, I know. Well, he could get black suited.
Oh, we doing Spider-Man 3 again? No, not again!
No, it's updated. It's going to be Spider-Man 4.
And, I mean, he could get the black suit, which in the comics is quite dope and does not include a musical number, unfortunately.
And emo hair.
We need the emo hair, the not talking to your friends being mean to them, not talking to your girlfriend being mean to them, not talking to anyone
Dance
being
number.
mean to them, a dance number, ripping off that evil goo and having it fall into someone else.
I just think that they're going to do Secret Wars with it because that's the original origin of where Spider-Man gets the black suit in the comics. He'll get it when he's in the weird dimension or in Secret Wars like they did in the comics. And so it's a different origin story than the more modern version of Venom black suited Spider-Man. They're going to go back and do that version of it where he kind of just comes across it and puts it on.
Cool.
All right, let's wrap this up. Thank you everyone for listening to our family review and deep dive / conversation. And with that,
Dormammu, I've come to Spider-Cast.
3 times.
Web shoot.